are flashpoints the world watches, and then there are flashpoints the world pretends not to see. And if the last video revealed the artery that feeds the global system, today we confront the spark that could force it to rupture. Because before an oil shock shakes markets, before tankers stop sailing, before central banks lose sleep, wars begin with pride, identity, and history colliding. And no collision today is more combustible than Iran and Israel. Not a border dispute, not a policy disagreement, but a confrontation woven into identity, security, survival, and the unfinished arguments of centuries. It looks modern. Drones, cyber attacks, deep strike aircraft, sanctions executed in spreadsheets. But underneath it is memory, theology, and trauma. In 1979, the world pivoted. Iran became a revolutionary state, an idea with missiles. Israel doubled down on intelligence supremacy, a nation with radar for destiny. And for decades, they have fought in the shadows. Scientists disappeared in quiet streets. Centrifuges spun and then died in silence. Ships limped across seas without saying why. Militias armed in basements. Drones assembled in deserts. Servers burned in cyber fire. Wars are not declared anymore. They are scaled. Israel called it the war between wars. Iran called it resistance by patience. And the rest of the world called it a headline. But history doesn't move with headlines. It moves when deterrence fails, when one side pushes too far, or the other side refuses to blink. And now, the margins are thin. Iran believes survival lies in influence across the region, in nuclear ambiguity, in proving it cannot be cornered. Israel believes survival lies in preventing that future, even preemptively. And the United States, once the unquestioned referee, is now stretched. Europe burning, Pacific tightening, Washington divided, credibility strained between commitments. So pressure builds, lines thin, signals risk being misread. And one strike, one convoy hit, one covert operation exposed, could pull the curtain off the shadow war. Not because anyone wants a full conflict, but because no one can afford to look weak. Wars rarely start with intent. They start with identity, with the fear that compromise equals extinction. And when ideology meets geography, markets don't wait for diplomats. Because the moment rockets fly, oil doesn't just rise. It reprices the world. Bond desks freeze. Volatility screams. Shipping premiums explode. Risk capital flees. Policy shifts from growth to survival. Power becomes energy risk. Money becomes motion. And nations become what they always were: consumers, producers, or casualties. This isn't just a Middle East story. It pulls Asia by the collar. India, quiet, calculating, walking the tightrope. Defense from Israel, energy from the Gulf, strategic corridor through Iran. Domestic politics balanced like nitroglycerin. A war here doesn't shake India's position, it defines it. Pakistan, nuclear, indebted, ideologically wired. A matchbox beside a fuse. China, watching with patient intensity. Does chaos distract America? Yes. Does chaos risk strangling Chinese oil lifelines? Also, yes. So, Beijing hedges. Reserves filled, pipelines built, currency chess played in quiet rooms, deals in the Gulf whispered instead of declared. This is not an isolated crisis. It is a system test. Proxy conflict, regional escalation, global market convulsion. This is the ladder. And humanity has climbed it before 1973. Gas lines, riots, currency rebirth. 1979, revolution, stagflation, global financial restructuring. Every oil shock rewires power. But this time, something unprecedented sits beneath the surface. A world loaded with debt, stretched supply chains, fatigued central banks, and a digital market that reacts faster than leaders can speak. A spark here does not crawl. It detonates through the grid of global finance. Energy traders don't wait. Algorithmic capital doesn't hesitate. Ships don't gamble. Hedge desks don't pray. When deterrence breaks, capital runs. Aggressively, instinctively, mercilessly. From airlines to tankers, from promises to commodities, from story stocks to defense and steel, from comfort to energy security, from soft money to hard assets, from narrative to physics. Because at the end of every geopolitical fantasy, reality arrives as fuel and freight. And in a world built on just-in-time supply, there is no buffer for chaos masquerading as accident. So watch the signals, not speeches, ship routing, not headlines, insurance spreads, not rumors, fuel storage, reserve releases, LNG flow maps, naval tasking orders. Geopolitics happens in statements. Power reveals itself in logistics. And if this fuse runs hot, we will not need to speculate. The world will feel it in prices before news anchors speak it. That is the era we have entered. A world where conflict is not measured only in soldiers, but in basis points, barrels, bandwidth, and basis swaps, where leaders posture, but markets decide who blinked, where energy is not a sector, but the foundation beneath civilization's feet. So stay awake, stay mobile, stay literate in energy, capital, and consequence. Because history does not always appear in explosions. Sometimes it arrives like this, quiet, building, shifting teeth behind diplomacy, until one day the spark lights what everyone swore would never burn. If you understand that, you don't fear chaos, you anticipate motion. Welcome back to GeoMoney TV, where we don't just watch the world, we track the forces that move it.